Chapter 6. Hazel. Hazel was walking home alone from the riding stables. Despite the cold evening, she was buzzing with warmth. Sammy had just kissed her on the cheek. The day had been full of ups and downs. Kids at school had teased her about her mother, calling her a witch and a lot of other names. That had been going on for a long time, of course, but it was getting worse. Rumors were spreading about Hazel's curse. The school was called St. Agnes Academy for Colored Children and Indians, a name that hadn't changed in 100 years. Just like its name, the place masked a whole lot of cruelty under a thin veneer of kindness. Hazel didn't understand how other black kids could be so mean. They should have known better, since they themselves had to put up with name-calling all the time, but they yelled at her and stole her lunch, always asking for those famous jewels. "Where's those cursed diamonds, girl? Give me some or I'll hurt you!" They pushed her away from the water fountain and threw rocks at her as if she tried to approach them on the playground. Despite how horrible they were, Hazel never gave them diamonds or gold. She didn't hate anyone that much. Besides, she had one friend, Sammy, and that was enough. Sammy liked to joke that he was the perfect St. Agnes student. He was Mexican-American, so he considered himself colored and Indian. "They should give me a double scholarship," he said. He wasn't big or strong, but he had a crazy smile, and he made Hazel laugh. That afternoon he'd taken her to the stables where he worked as a groom. It was a whites-only riding club, of course, but it was closed on weekdays, and with the war on, there was talk that the club might have to shut down completely until the Japanese were whipped and the soldiers came back home. Sammy could usually sneak Hazel in to help take care of the horses. Once in a while, they'd go riding. Hazel loved horses. They seemed to be the only living things that weren't scared of her. People hated her. Cats hissed, dogs growled. Even the stupid hamster in Miss Finley's classroom squeaked in terror when she tried to give him a carrot. But horses didn't mind. She said she was in the saddle so she could ride so fast that there was no chance of gemstones cropping in her wake. She almost felt free of her curse. That afternoon she'd taken on a tall roan stallion with a gorgeous black mane. She galloped into the field so swiftly that she left Sammy behind. By the time he caught up, and him and his horse were both winded. "What are you running from?" he laughed. "I'm not that ugly, am I?" It was too cold for a picnic, but they had one anyway, sitting under a magnolia tree with the horses tethered to a split-rail fence. Sammy had brought her a cupcake with a birthday candle, which had gotten smashed on the ride, but was still the sweetest thing Hazel had ever seen. They broke it in half and shared it. Sammy talked about the war. He wished they were old enough to go. He asked Hazel if she would write him letters if he was a soldier going overseas. "Course, dummy," she said. He grinned. Then, as if moved by a sudden impulse, he lurched forward and kissed her on the cheek. "Happy birthday, Hazel." It wasn't much, just one kiss, and not even on the lips. But Hazel felt like she was floating. She hardly remembered the ride back to the stables, or telling Sammy goodbye. He said, "See you tomorrow," like he always did, but she would never see him again. By the time she got back to the French Quarter, it was getting dark. As she approached home, her warm feeling faded, replaced by dread. Hazel and her mother, Queen Marie, she liked to be called, lived in an old apartment above a jazz club. Despite the beginning of the war, there was a festive mood in the air. New recruits would roam the streets, laughing and talking about fighting the Japanese. They'd get tattoos in the parlors or propose to their sweethearts right on the sidewalk. Some would go upstairs to Hazel's mother to have their fortunes read or buy charms from Marie Louvre, the famous Grisy queen. "Did you hear?" one would say. "2 bits for this good luck charm. I took it to a guy I know, and he says it's a real silver nugget, worth $20. That voodoo woman is crazy." For a while, that kind of talk brought Queen Marie a lot of business. Hazel's curse had started out slowly. At first, it seemed like a blessing. Those precious stones and gold only appeared once in a while, never in huge quantities. Queen Marie paid her bills, they ate steak dinner for once a week. Hazel even got new dresses. But then the story started spreading. The locals began to realize how many horrible things happened to those who bought those good luck charms or got paid with Queen Marie's treasure. Charlie Gasco lost his arm in a harvester while wearing a gold bracelet. Mr. Henry at the general store dropped dead from a heart attack after Queen Marie settled her tab with a ruby.